Helen, do you remember how Smokey came to live with us? You were 7, I think, at the time.
No, I know that we used to go riding, didn't we?
We used to go, that's right. And then, unbeknownst to you, they told me that they were having to close down and sell all the ponies and what have you. And so dear old Smokey was suddenly out of a home. He had nowhere to go. And people were snapping up a little one called Misty that was all very sweet and genteel and all the rest of it. And there was our dear old bucking Smokey, left-hand
mischievous.
Yes, yeah. He really was. And there he was. So anyway, he did eventually come to live with us.
I didn't.
She knew nothing about it.
I mean, all I remember is one day you saying, come down to the end of the driveway. You must have said something to me though about, I think you'd spun me some yarn about we were looking after a pony for a while, because obviously the paddock had been built.
Yes, I'd built a pony. And we were going to look after it.
We were going to look after it for a while, and I remember very clearly. I remember I was wearing my jeans and a little stripy knitted top. I remember really clearly what I was wearing. And then we walked down the end of the drive, which of course we had that long driveway, and he turned up in this little kind of single horse box.
That's right. And he was being led towards us from the bottom of the drive, up the drive, and he came up, and you looked at him, and he kind of just shook his head and all the rest of it, and then we took him into his paddock, and that was his home for the rest of his life. He never left us. We never left him. He became such a part of the family. Every morning he'd come to the gate and he would neigh to be let out because he liked to wander around. And then he'd come up to the back door and he would pound on the bottom of the back door.
Well, he used to kick it, didn't he? He used to kick it with his hoof.
And hit it with his hoof, as you so rightly said.
Yeah, on the cat flap. There was a grey cat flap also, and he would try and hit it, so also the cat flap kind of made a rattle. So it was an extra.
And he would stand outside the back door, which had a glass panel in, like a window, and he would look at us through the window, waiting for us and making...
And do you remember how annoyed you and Daddy would get because he'd smear his nose all over the glass?
It's every day, it was the same. And then we'd have to open the door, and he would make his way into the kitchen. I think we've got a picture of him in the kitchen here. And the first thing he'd make his way to would be the fruit bowl. Yeah. There you are. There's John. There's Anna in the doorway there. And there he is. He'd come up to the fruit bowl and choose his apple. And very happy. There's Helen with him. She would gallop with him up the drive so fast. He always reminded me, and I bought a little statue.
It was a
Thelwell pony. Hair round his neck like this, flat on his back.
He was fast, actually.
He was very, very fast.
He was fast.
And he'd come up that driveway at a rate of knots, but
he was
hanging on to
He
him.
was also crafty because, like, in that first picture here, that's an apple tree, isn't it? And do you remember, he used to like literally stretch himself so much, like a giraffe. And he used to pull the branch down and shake it and then get the apples off the branches.
And they'd fall down.
And they'd fall down. Then sometimes you could see after he'd eaten too many, he'd be like, oh, feeling a bit ill now.
Another time, I remember, I always